Greetings! Today we'll be making a side dish, a beautiful addition to your meals. Today we'll be making scalloped potatoes. What this is potatoes, baked potatoes in a cream sauce. So if you want an idea of the flavors, it's like a seasoned Alfredo sauce on baked potatoes. So you get all of that potato goodness with all of that nice seasoning creaminess. It's great. What we're going to start with is potatoes, and we see me here struggling to cut them as thinly as possible. It's okay if you don't get all the way down in a disc, it's fine, but try to cut them as thinly as you possibly can. You can also peel them if you wish, but I didn't feel like peeling them because the skin don't do nothing to me. I just wash my potatoes and keep it pushing. To prevent the potatoes from getting brown while I make the sauce, I just submerge them in a tub of water. It doesn't have to be cold water, just submerge them in some water. I'm also trying to show you how thinly I tried to get most of the slices, but if they're not that thin, that's also okay. To a heavy bottom and non-stick pot, if possible, we're going to add just a tablespoon of oil and a tablespoon of butter. You do not want to have your pot on high heat because we're going to add onions and garlic and we don't want them to burn. So just swishy up the butter in there a little bit, and then you just add your garlic and your onions. You want the garlic and the onion to release flavors, but you don't want them to get brown. So what you're going to do is ever so often stir your pot. Don't walk away, just watch it and stir it occasionally because you do not want them to get brown. So you're going to allow that to bubble so that the flavors get infused into the butter and the oil. But remember, so we're watching the pot because we don't want it brown. We don't want anybody getting brown. We are now going to make our roux, which is a flour butter mixture. But you don't want to add all the flour at once because you don't want clumping. So what you do is gradually add your flour and whisk. This way you are incorporating the flour just as quickly as you add it, so there isn't a big clump of flour. Once you have done that, you're going to allow the flour to cook a little bit so you don't get this dusty, powdery flour flavor. Once we have completed our roux and the flour is finished cooking, we're going to add milk. This is going to create a bechamel or a white sauce, and this is the base for our cheese sauce. So just add your milk and continuously whisk. Now it's going to get thicker again because the milk and the flour are going to react and they're going to thicken. So we're going to add our cream cheese and we're going to incorporate that as best as possible before we add water. We're doing this because we want the cream cheese to be not dissolved but incorporated with the entire sauce, and then we're going to add some water to thin it. Now, you don't want it to be watery consistency, but this is a thick clump and this is not the consistency that we need. So we're just going to add some water to that. Gradually add the water and not all at once because we don't want it to get too thin. It is important for you to add herbs and spices to this sauce because it's not as flavorful as it could be. So other herbs and spices that you like, a little onion powder, ginger powder, garlic powder, a little red crushed pepper, anything that you like, you can add it here and just allow that to simmer and cook through. And also now add more cheeses to your sauce, and I opted to use some sharp cheddar and just allow that to become a creamy consistency like so. Now we're going to assemble our potatoes, and I just added a layer of sauce to the bottom of my pan before starting to add the potatoes. This can be likened to like a lasagna type of stacking. So we're just going to add sauce to the bottom, and then I'm going to add 2 layers of potatoes before I add more sauce. We're going to repeat these steps until we have completely finished our potatoes, and then the final layer will be a sauce layer. Having completed 2 layers of potatoes, I'm now going to add a generous amount of sauce and try my best to smooth that across the potatoes rather than have it staying in the positions or places that it was dropped in. So we're going to have an ample amount of sauce, and then we're just going to take our time and be very gentle when you're smoothing it because it is loose potatoes, so it's going to move about. So just take your time and smooth it out. So this is what our finished product looks like. The sauce on top crusted a little bit. You can see that it has a little sizzle, and to top it off you can just sprinkle a little parsley, and you want to wait until your potatoes have been sitting for about 15 to 20 minutes before trying to remove them from the pan. That way they don't fall apart and slide apart. This brings us to the end of yet another video. I hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.